drags out some time as the sound barrier is fading away and turns it into a big gravitic flux.
What we're seeing, too, is that good Sigmas will build their ults very quickly. Void already halfway to another one right now. Rhea already 36% of his as well. Meanwhile, Death Blossom coming in from Surefour. No kills resulting from that just yet, though. Godsby down. Hydration does get the finishing blow, and what that did do is it pushed the Spark back. Here we go again. The Sparker back. Gladiators finally getting the cleanup. They're going to get the payload moving.
That they will. So Gladiators, they make the play, but a lot of their issues have come from the fact that, remember, the Spark are, in general, a pretty defensive team. We've talked about how the team they're most similar to is the NYXL. So they will sort of play backwards and wait for you to make the first move. And a lot of times they've just been sort of backpedaling while Hydration or Surefour line, and that's forcing them to use movement abilities early, and then they found themselves uniquely vulnerable to the counterpunch that's coming in from the Spark.
Bazzi down early. Hydration just finds him in the 1v1, and it's a rough start for Spark already. Void sitting on that gravitic flux now, just built it up. Spark having to try to play past it a little bit here.
So I have a Reaper in the back line. He's going to get in there and just die. Okay.
Hydration gets the kill into Godsby. Yeah, they tried to go for the long flank. It was a long shot play, but not going to work out. Gladiators going to keep pushing here.
Yeah, it's going to die on the card. So what happened there is Gladiators realized that Godsby was trying to shadow step behind them. So they just all in the 6 versus 5 in the front, managed to catch out Bazzi's Doomfist right at the start, and they're going to get some more card progress as a result. So if they can catch them in those moments of flanking, they can use that Lucio speed boost to take the 6 versus 5.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been that effective because Hangzhou has been able to set up flanks faster than the Gladiators have been able to react to them.
Now this fight's a big opportunity for Spark. They're going to have a lot of ultimates, and if they can stop the payload here with that long run back for the Gladiators, that might make it a little bit tricky for LA to finish this point. We'll see if the going in early. Meteor strike right away, though. He had to get out of danger. It's going to be the sound barrier for both sides. There's a gravitic flux coming in from the Gladiators. Roared down, though. Hangzhou Sparks standing strong. So far, they really want to win this defensive fight here at the end of B. Bazzi loads up. The right click gets stunned as he goes in, though. Hydration down regardless. Gushui finds another one, and now the other DPS Surefour hits the floor as well. And Spark, they win this fight, and now, if you're the Gladiators, you got to deal with a long run back and not a lot of ultimates.
You said it before, Doa, but Rhea has been excellent at shutting down Hydration's Doomfist. Like, the accretion just keeps hitting him over and over again at the start of these fights. There has to be a different plan here for the Gladiators. They need to be able to unlock the pick potential of the Doomfist, and if he's going to eat rocks the entire game, it's just not going to work.
I don't recommend that. It's not good on the teeth. All right, Hulk brings everyone in. There it is, another one onto Hydration. Gets stunned, manages to uppercut his way to safety for the moment. That's a lot of health missing from the Gladiators right now, though. And Godsby wasn't successful. Spark, though, Bazzi goes in, finishes off Big Goose. It's a good start. Oh, but Hydration with the revenge. Meanwhile, Godsby gets Surefour, so it's going to be Hydration on his own. As far as the damage deals for Gladiators are concerned, they do, though, have that supercharger, and they're going to use it to power up Chaz's Coalescence. That's going to be a kill onto IDK, and that payload nearly at the end of B. Spark trying desperately to stop them, but they're short-handed. Hydration seems unstoppable. That's going to be the Meteor Strike coming down for the 2K. And this should be point B for the Gladiators, so stop for long on the attack.
Yeah, bold read by the Gladiators, too, to double down in a fight where they had lost someone. But as soon as they got the pickoff onto Bazzi, they made space with the supercharger and dared the Hangzhou Spark to try and get onto the payload. Ends up working out pretty well for them as they have the Sigma ult as well to create some zones, and they're able to push through. Still only 90 seconds, though. They want to hit all the way through point C.
That's right. Here we go. Gravitic Flux from Void. Ultimate comes in. Surefour onto Bebe. And it's a pause. All right. Well.
Mid-fight as well.
Yeah.
Might be a bit difficult. That Sigma ult had just started getting channeled from Rhea.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's just pizza pie on the ground there.
You call it pizza pies?
It's a pizza pie.
Oh, God.
Put just a pizza. I don't know. I'm just saying pizza pie because it sounds funnier. I normally, in my day-to-day life, Doa just says pizza.
He says pizza.
Sometimes Doa speaks in the third person.
That's how it goes. I've never said pizza pie. That's mostly like an East Coast thing. I was gonna say pizza pie.
I have no
I don't know.
idea.
All right. Anyway, we're back. Gravitic Flux. It's pizza time.
Any damage that one? No. Ooh, the indigestion not strong for the Spark right there. Rhea down though. Hydration gets another one, and now the Gladiators using that sound barrier to push forward. Can they finish this map off though? Surefour needed a little bit of healing there, and now the Sun onto hydration gets knocked away, but the Spark zoned out of this fight. The payload has been moving unopposed.
Yeah, but IDK was there on the payload, so they didn't move it at the start of that engagement and allowed the rest of the Spark to retreat and regroup. So IDK playing the objective meant that Surefour had to turn around to deal with them, and Hangzhou doesn't lose any more members because they can't approach them with the Reaper. So IDK there just skating around the backside of the payload, got some really good time actually for the Spark to just strategically back off and then re-engage.
Spark in a pretty good position here with this last defensive fight. 30 seconds remaining, so that's only one real good engage coming in from the Gladiators here. Spark have a slight ultimate advantage, not much of one. The poke might equalize it. The Gladiators can do. Gosby coming in from behind, got that Death Blossom. Wraith form, and can he use it right here? A lot of damage coming in onto the Orisa. Surefour down. They took out the DPS and even Void's kill onto Bazzi. Gosby gets two, and maybe they can turn it around. The tanks coming alive for the Gladiators, but the respawns are a bit better for the Spark. If they can hold on, they might still be able to do this. Shaz trying desperately to heal his Lucio. Big Goose down, though it doesn't matter, and Roar gets the kill onto IDK as well. We will see as a Meteor Strike comes in if the Gladiators can push through here, but that's a big coalescence coming out from Bebe right now. Gladiators trying to hold on. Hydration, not a lot of help, but he finally gets the healing he needs in the end. Exits, there's another Sun for Rhea, but Surefour right there to finish him off, and then the Death Blossom from Gosby turns it around again. An insane back and forth fight. Now the Gladiators with the sound barrier. IDK so close to his, he gets it in the nick of time. And again, will it come down to those respawns for the Spark? Big Goose, it looks like it might, but he gets one onto Goushway as well. The Hog off the edge, the whole Hog. Oh, and another knockoff onto Shaz. IDK sealing the deal.
Getting all 3 points.
So many of these fights have been somehow the flankers from the Hangzhou Spark, the Doomfist or the Reaper, causing such havoc in the Gladiators' backlines and picking off a support or just straight up taking out hydration before the battle can begin.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like in a straight up fight. Can they do it? They got to be scrappy instead. We'll see what happens when we come back.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
Welcome back to Kings Row. The Gladiators unable to push the payload all the way. See, they got it most of the way there, but the Spark coming up with a clutch defense at the very end. And you and I were chatting about this a little bit during the break, but it really is the Spark trying to be, evasive and not fight that like straight up head-to-head fight.
The positioning has been a lot trickier so far. Gladiators, though, Well, they pushed it almost to the end of C, so certainly a winnable
Map for them.
Yep.
And it stands right now. Hangzhou going to be content. Going to Reaper Mirror. And it's interesting. But neither of these teams coming into this match had played more than 15 team fights as Doomfist this entire year.
Yeah.
And now they're forced to play it. So it certainly has not been something that we expected, and might be slightly outside of the team's comfort zone, at least in 2019.
Here we go, loading up that rocket punch. Bazzi with a bit of damage here as the Spark tries to assault point A. Going around from behind again, another good bit of damage, and he doesn't get out this time though. Surefour ready for him, and now the Spark fighting short-handed. 5 to 6, make it 4 to 6, make it 3 to 6 as Surefour picks up a bunch of kills himself and sends the Spark packing. That one's not going to work out.
Yeah, Surefour got around behind the formation. The early elimination onto Bazzi after he had used his cooldowns, and then is able to sweep his way through the hotel onto the tank line. Hangzhou Spark were very focused on hydration, got the accretion stun onto him, but couldn't get the finisher. So
Yeah, early accretion stun from Void onto Bebe, like as the map began too. So you're going to see those Sigmas start to get really good about placing those rocks right when things begin. There's a big halt at the beginning. IDK getting close to that sound barrier. They're going to need it soon. Hangzhou Spark instead using the Coalescence as they try to push forward here. Ria drawing ever nearer to that Gravitic Flux, but Void already has his, and he's going to use it right now. Are they going to get the kills? It's a lot of damage, and it looks like it should be enough. Gladiators trying to go in for the cleanup, and they are going to get that. Godsby with a kill onto Hydration, though, but that's a hero that gets back to the fight in a hurry. Meanwhile, the Gladiators would love to get a couple more exit kills on the way out. They do get one onto IDK, who does save his sound barrier. Oh, another one onto Bazzi as well. So Gladiators certainly going to be at full strength in that next fight anyway.
yeah, you got a little bit greedy right there. Tried to go after Big Goose, but couldn't get the elimination, and that bought enough time for the rest of the Gladiators to hunt him down. So there will not be a player advantage now. Hydration is back with the rest of his teammates. Plenty of ults on the Los Angeles side. Hangzhou nearly Gushue. Top up at 100% here shortly.
Harder to be sneaky when it's such a binary way to approach that Surefour just walks in and unloads the Flower of Death.
That's great for the Gladiators. Didn't even have to use any support ults to cover him during that, so ends up being highly efficient for a Death Blossom right through the choke point right there. They know Hangzhou is trying these flanks. They're trying to set up. So when the Gladiators detect that, then they're going to go after them.
Let's see it again. Well, it's a good old-fashioned teleport in. Oh, they have the Supercharger too,
Great
so.
timing on the Supercharger.
Yeah, that helps out as well. Meanwhile, the fight has already begun. Your Supercharger down now. Hydration stops. Gushue is flat. And it's going to be the defensive Meteor Strike. Bazzi, though, gets a kill on the Hydration anyway. Sound barrier now for Spark as they have the 6v5. We'll see what they can do with this fight. It's going to be a right-click onto Surefour as they back away. Ria goes ahead and uses the ultimate. They're going to force the Gladiators off the point right now, and Spark on the verge of getting this payload rolling. We'll see if the Gladiators want to come back in. They tried to flank with Surefour, but Spark was wise to him. There goes a rock through it. Bazzi down there.
Still killing people.
He got the kill anyway. I thought for sure the Spark were going to finish him off, but no. He's coming from behind again. They did not finish the Reaper, and they are paying for it.
Surefour's just running wild in their back line.
They couldn't finish him. I don't know how you get out of that initial flank as Surefour. That was crazy.
I think Gladiators are adapting. They realize that a lot of these cooldowns are going to shutting down Hydration. So Surefour is just playing more aggressively as a result and just waltzing around in their back line.
Well, Spark denying 3 points from the Gladiators, but the Gladiators might deny any points at all on King's Row from the Hangzhou Spark. They're on the verge of getting full held here. Just 2 ticks taken. There's another Death Blossom coming in from Surefour as he's in the Coalescence, getting so much healing as well. Hydration is like, you know what? It's all right. I'm just going to kill 2 people with my Rocket Punch. Why not? And here comes a Meteor Strike. Time to slam and finish off the Spark as the Gladiators are going to tie this series up. It's all elementary here as the cleanup continues.
Looking really good right now, and they will do it.
Yep.
Tie match here for the Gladiators.
Full hold on their map selection of King's Row. They moved to 8-2 on the map in 2019.
We have ourselves a tie series going into the first break. Gladiators able to bring it back in their pick in King's Row, a map that they've done quite well on all season long. Another win for them. We'll see who takes the lead when we come back.
The Overwatch Week is brought to you by T-Mobile. now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X5 gives you the speed you need to game like a pro.
I am with you.
EMP activated.
Incoming.
You can't catch me!
Glorious.
You know, it's only right that we have another back and forth battle to close out the night after the Spark took map 1. It was the Gladiators getting the full hold on Kings Road to tie things up at 1-1 at the break. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Halftime, presented by Cheez It Grooves. Malik here. We got Zoe, Brennan, Sideshow. We got our Wish Sideshow. Hydration's on the Doomfist. I'm loving it so far. How are you loving it, man?
Yeah, hydration, you know, renowned Doomfist. That's what Monte Cristo and Dora have been talking a lot about. This hasn't given them the advantage you might expect coming into this match.
Yeah, my initial impressions of this match, actually, coming into this, I figured the Gladiators would have an advantage because the damage dealing players would be comfortable on those roles. But I think it's weird, actually, the meta we're seeing. It's a lot more based as well on your Orisa and your Sigma player and how well they can work in terms of their coordination. The damage dealers are having a lot less impact. If the previous series was like a clean series, you know, it's a nice clean match, this is like an underground boxing match, is what it feels like.
I actually think it's like the two teams are the opposite of each other. I think the damage dealers look better on the Gladiator side, whereas the tank line looks better on the Spark side. And so it kind of counters each other out as we go on in this series.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up damage dealers because when we started this match off at Busan, Hangzhou came out with a Symmetra and a Bastion strategy, which is very intriguing to see.
Yeah, I love that, actually. It shows that they've put time and thought into this first map that they knew was going to be in the series because they're the highest seed. They know that it's going to be on Busan. It's Symmetra, Bastion. We've actually seen this combination quite a bit. Yep. The Vancouver Titans were trying to run it in the previous match. It works really well against Reaper Doomfist because there's not really that many ways that you can close the gap and be able to take down the Bastion. But when it came to the mirror battle, that's where it's been really close and actually quite back and forth.
Yeah, I will say as well, though, I feel like I've seen this before where teams rely on these niche strategies, we call them cheese strategies as well. Case in point, Gladiators last year. They managed to take the first series against London in their initial round of playoffs by doing, you know, these sort of niche strategies where they were throwing teams off guard. So realistically, I didn't expect Guangzhou to be able to perform well in the mirror matches as we went on, but it has been incredibly close between them. As you can see statistically, Bazzi, not known for his Doomfist, in fact, it's one of the heroes he doesn't play really at all, was getting the better end of it.
Yeah, but I mean, He may have been winning in this numbers game, but if you're looking at the eye test here, I think he kind of lucked out because his team was just a little better at following up or creating space for him. They kind of edged it out for him.
Agree.
I think that Hydration still looks a lot more confident and comfortable also on that Doomfist.
Yeah, in terms of the absolute mechanics of the hero, Bazzi still looks like he's finding his feet on it. Yeah, I agree. But a lot of this hero comes down in the current meta to playing it smartly and being able to be there and anticipate other movements so that you're there to punch them when they actually come in. That's why Fitz, I think, saw a lot of success on that hero, even though he's not known as a Doomfist. So as long as the whole of Hangzhou Spark can anticipate where Gladiators are moving, I think Bazzi will still be able to perform.
Indeed. All right, well, moving on to King's Row. The Gladiators seem to have a lot of history on this map. Of course, we know about the Great Bamboozle of last year, and they continue to excel playing at King's Row. What do you guys think is this very defensive approach to this map by the Gladiators?
I honestly don't know what to think of this map as I was watching it. I'll be completely honest with you, because it's like we said at the start of the series, or start of this segment here, it's been a very scrappy game between them. These teams are not as well versed in a lot of this, and we're seeing some plays where the Gladiators just seem to be inting.
What was this? This was crazy as well. Surefour leading them around the houses, dodges, jukes, takes down Bazzi, who misses his punch, wins the 1v1 there as well.
Plays like that.
That was nuts.
I do feel like the Gladiators did take advantage of the fact that the Spark went in maybe a little bit too aggressive. I do feel like they tried to force the issue more often than not, and it didn't really go in their favor.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Well, guys, it's time for our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And we have to talk about the LA Gladiators because they've never won a playoff series. So for them to win in this, what do you guys think the keys to victory are for the LA Gladiators?
Keep playing like they're playing, honestly, as well. I feel like it's going to be a very tight series between them, because what it seems to be coming down to is the map picks as well. And on the maps that the teams are picking right now, I mean, obviously they didn't get to initially pick the first map, but what we're seeing is, Gladiators, they seem to have these comfort picks, and they have a game plan on the specific maps that they're seeing. I can definitely see this going the distance, and it seems like the best time for them to try and break this curse that the franchise has had.
If you look at the teams that they've played here as well, and now the teams that they're going to be playing on their route through the bracket, it seems like they might have a slightly easier run this time around as well. I mean, the Hangzhou Spark, they are the 4th seed, sure, but nobody's really saying that they are a dominant force so far, and it looks a little scrappy. That they would go on to play the Titan. To the lower bracket, they take on the Seoul Dynasty as well. There's opportunities here for the LA Gladiators to make a bit of a run, but every team is looking pretty powerful in this playoff bracket at the moment. The Gladiators, they've got to step up now.
Yeah, I said this is a very competitive bracket. This top 8 is a serious death bracket indeed. Now, coming up, guys, we got an assault map. It looks like we're going to be going to Temple of Anubis, if I'm not mistaken. That was Crunch Time presented by Cheez-It Grooves. But I do want to ask you guys, what do you guys think moving forward here on Anubis? Is this a map that's going to favor the Hangzhou Spark? A good pick for them at all?
I mean,
are we going to see Bash and Symmetra?
Yeah, we might. You never know. But I think what really comes down to is that both of those teams need to be cleaning up their games. And so far, both of them have been looking very scrappy.
Yes.
So regardless of map, if neither of the teams is doing that, then it's going to continue being a brawl.
I'm curious to see if Hangzhou Spark are going to be pulling out any more of these new strategies like we saw in Busan, Temple of Anubis. There must be a rhyme or a reason as to why they picked it.
It's the Bastion Symmetra. We've seen this kind of stuff happen before, actually. Teleporting Bastions from the first pillar over to the back.
I'll be honest with you, I really dislike it because it might work initially now against Gladiators, which Gladiators are looking like one of the weaker teams we've got right now. I will say it.
We also haven't seen the whole bottom half of the bracket, right? Like we haven't seen Atlanta or Shock, and we haven't seen New York.
So far, of the teams though, I'm honestly quite unimpressed with the tank line in general. But I'm bringing the spice there. It's just what I've witnessed. It's just what I've been.
No, it's true though. We did discuss it. Voice looks like the weakest Sigma so far.
But I'm worried about Hangzhou. If they bring out a niche cheese strategy right now, it might work today, but is it going to work later on down the line, further into the playoffs, when teams can prep for you? I don't think so.
All right, I don't know, guys. I think you might have the LA Gladiators wrong. Just my opinion. But anyways, guys, we got a whole another half to find that out. A whole another stretch of this match to go. Right now, it's all tied up 1-1. We'll see who can get the edge when we come back after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
Welcome back, guys. Thrilling start to this series, a 1-1 tie between the LA Gladiators and the Hangzhou Spark. And it's been interesting because we see teams playing similar compositions, but in very different ways, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the halftime, discussed that Bazzi may not be mechanically as strong on the Doomfist, but I think his positioning was just a little bit better. He was catching people out at the start of those fights. But it didn't matter on King's Row, a map that is historically gone the Gladiators' way, goes their way once again here in this quarterfinal series.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, too, you just have to accept that Surefour is going to be like one of the best DPS players you've ever seen in your life. He's going to survive things that no one has any right surviving on the Reaper, like that attack on King's Row Point A, and that's a kind of a star factor that you need to go far in the playoffs. So it's cool to see that early from the Gladiators.
It also just seems like the Spark had a game plan coming in of Rhea is going to use the accretion, stun, knockdown in order to deal with Hydration's Doomfist, but that doesn't leave you with many tools if you already committed that to stop the Reaper just from plowing through your back line, which is what we saw Surefour realize. Good multi-kills at the end.
Right. So it's going to take some adjustment, and part of that adjustment is substitutions. That's right. It's going to be Adora subbing in for the Hangzhou Spark. Godspeed taking a break on the bench. And so what do you think this means? I think it has a lot to do with our next map.
I think it does as well. And why we say that is it might mean a Genji pick because the map selection has been, or is going to be rather, Temple of Anubis.
That's right. Yep. As you can see, King's Row going the way of the LA Gladiators now. We move on to Assault. It's going to be Temple of Anubis. And the desk mentioned it too. This is a good map for things like the Symmetra Bastion as well. You can really take a lot of aggressive stances, teleport them around like we saw on the Shrine Point on Busan as well. But the Genji pick for Adora would not shock me either. Hangzhou Spark on the attack, and at the moment, it's looking like Adora running the Reaper. So it could just be they feel Adora might do a little bit better than Godspeed did.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We discussed how Godspeed has been arguably the worst Reaper main that we've seen so far this year when it comes to damage per 10 minutes and also final blows per 10. He was lowest in the league of Reaper players who have played over 90 team fights.
Hydration doing his Warrior 2 pose there. That's getting us some yoga before things start.
So might be mixing it up, and they will be. Adora now will be on that Reaper. So what can he do that Godspeed can't will be the question. Gladiators going to be positioned here on that high ground, on that right-hand side as the Hangzhou Spark enter. Rotating now, the Gladiators over to defend the choke point.
They've got that Orisa shield too if they need it. See what the aggression's going to be. All right, Hulk gets used. Going to rocket punch right through. It's going to be the Doomfist hitting each other. Bazzi spun, gets a little bit of shields out of that. Hangzhou Spark's still in this one. Going to go ahead and burn through Void's shield. He has to recall that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I need to wait for some barriers right now. That's what the delay is for the Spark. Sigma barrier going to come out. That's the push.
That's right. Hulk comes in as well. The Doomfist hit each other again. Meanwhile, Roar very low. They got to keep their tank alive. Orisa, but hydration down. Bazzi finds a 1v1. The Doomfist finally deciding who the better one is in this fight anyway. Gladiators backing off to the point. Hangzhou trying to win a 6v4 here, 6v5. Surefour in trouble. Can they finish off the Reaper? Goes back to his team, but Roar left exposed, and now Bazzi looking for a kill. onto Big Goose as well, down to just about 50 HP. Surefour finally gets one. How does he live for so long? And they're going to actually use the coalescence from Shaz to try to stay in this one.
I mean, they have no Orisa right now, so the re-engage should be very strong from the Hangzhou Spark. I mean, they have no tanks right now on the point. Tank respawns coming in. This should be easy for the Spark to take.
I mean, Surefour just trying to take that defensive position as well. Now he's trying to get up on the high ground. One tick taken by the Spark already. The tanks for the Gladiators coming back. But Shaz, now the support's out of commission. And finally, Surefour drops. The Hangzhou Spark slowed down, but not stopped at all on point A. They are going to get a quick take.
I'm not sure it was worth Roar coming back in there because of how he died immediately and he didn't do anything to stall out the point, also giving all that HP over when it comes to ult charge.
Yeah,
and it was only the supercharger that was used because remember that fight started with a pick off onto hydration. So Hangzhou play their ult economy conservatively with player advantage. Gladiators nearly up at 5, but they're not going to have the coalescence. Doesn't matter.
Oh, finish off a door anyway. Yeah, Gladiators with an easy team fight win here. Hangzhou Sparks is okay. We'll just save all our ultimates then.
And Gladiators, they've been playing in these choke points with just using Death Blossom, basically. And that's been impactful. It was impactful for them in a choke point on King's Row, on their defense. It's impactful for them here again on the Anubis B defense. And part of that is, as we've seen in the meta shift over, we see a lot less D.Va. So, it's harder to absorb that with the Sigma ability rather than trying to use the defense matrix to sort of covers the entire... Ooh, nice pick.
All right, hydration just comes down from on high and eliminates Bebby immediately. Tries to go for Death Blossom, does coming in right on top of Gushue. Bazzi right on top of him. That said, though, the Spark not with enough people at all to assault the point.
No, I mean, it's good play by the Gladiators. They realize that they've been at these ult disadvantages, so they're taking some very aggressive risks. And knowing that they can use the spawn advantage, and if they can sow enough chaos that the Spark are going to dump a lot of ults into those fights, then they're going to have a lot weaker presence when they actually get onto the point itself.
Working out well so far. Rhea, meanwhile, okay, here we go. Void uses the Gravitic Flux. Surefour down already. Void does get the kill into Bezzy, but Adora coming back with one under Roar. Now it's
nice
taking the sound barrier. That's right.
Stun him out of the ult.
On the Gladiators, and Rhea, like you said, doesn't get to use that Gravitic Flux that he wanted to. Sparks still moving towards the point, though. Gladiators a little bit scattered, but they do have that respawn advantage. Void down, though. One tank out of commission. Rhea rapidly building his ultimate back again. Just doing a lot of damage, actually, in the meantime, too. Hydration needs to flee. He's in big trouble, gets pulled in, killed with the halt, taken out before the rock even gets there. And Spark looking okay in this fight, just grinding through the LA Gladiators. And I don't know if the Gladiators can turn this one around. They're going to have a miracle. Shaz is going to have his coalescence in a second, but they've got the supercharger to contend with. 2 ticks taken by the Gladiators. Now, coalescence comes in from Shaz, and they try to get Surefour into the back lines as well. Surefour looking for kills here. The swap over the D.Va happens as well for Void. Bezzy, meanwhile, trying to deal with Roar, keep him knocked up in the meantime, so he can't really jump on anybody else. They are so close, 93% for the Hangzhou Spark, but there goes Rhea. Gladiators trying to bring it back in hydration. Another one with the Doomfist. And with a little bit of help from Surefour and Roar, the Gladiators are going to barely hold point B.
93.7% on that stall out from the Gladiators. Swaps coming through to make sure they were going to be able to stick to that point. Hangzhou Spark tried to force it. They didn't have Bezzy when they first got onto the objective for the Gladiators to hold.
That was as close as it gets.
Certainly was. And it might be the best chance for the Spark.
Might have been. I mean, you look at the Gladiators right now, they're going to have both support ultimates again in a second. That's better than the Spark will have access to. I think you might be right. Spark with 1:30 left on the clock, so any way you slice it, even if they finish it, it's not going to be the world's greatest time bank either. Going in, all right, Death Blossom from Surefour, and he gets 3! Surefour! Nobody's stopping this guy.
Part of it is Surefour is a good player, Noah. Part of it is, as you say, nobody is stopping this guy. He's
slow clap at the end.
Slow clap and tactical crouch, like you do.
I mean, yeah, you know, what's better than the tactical crouch? The slow clap crouch. Yeah, easy as that, right? Play of the game. I think that's what they call that.
When you know that they're going to blow those cooldowns early on the initial engage, it opens up these timing windows where you can just pop in And to his credit, Roar's been doing a good job of providing superchargers and Orisa barriers to him. That time it was Coalescence.
Oh man, I don't think they caught anybody in Ria's Gravitic Flux there. That was a rough one for the Spark. It's from the Gladiators, so they're going to trade ultimates there. Big Goose trying to separate some of the Spark members from the rest of their team here in Hydration down. Adora gets one with the Death Blossom, looking for more as he runs forward here. Wraithform to get onto the point and get after Big Goose, who backs away. Gonna get taken out here in a second. There we go. Now the Spark ready to finish it. They do get the complete cap with 21 seconds remaining. Took a long time to get there,
but they got the job done in the end.
Yeah, didn't go to overtime either, so they will guarantee themselves another attack round if the Gladiators are also able to finish. So crucially important. And the Spark looking to take a lead in this series.
The Gladiators on the attack when we come back.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
It was tough for the Hongzhou Spark, but they were able to get 2 points on their attack on Temple of Anubis, despite the heroic efforts of Surefour and the rest of the LA Gladiators.
Could have been a lot worse for the Gladiators, actually.
It could have been, yeah.
It was a good stall.
They held quite a long time. Ria on your screen, playing that Sigma today. Been a little bit hit and miss on the ultimates, but really good. And his parents are in the audience today as well, coming all the way to support their son. That's pretty sick.
I think we should have a parents' reaction cam.
I think we should have an Overwatch parents match where we have the parents of the players play against each other.
That would be really funny, actually.
Both of those ideas are great. We have the best ideas.
I know we do.
That's true.
We also have to have a walkout competition onto the stage between the parents' groups.
That's true.
I would enjoy that greatly.
Yeah. Well,
Swoosh can coach them.
I was going to say, Swoosh comes back and just wins it anyway. He signs like a one-day contract with Florida. LA Gladiators on the attack here. We'll see if they can get 2 points a little bit quicker than Spark did get a little bit better time bank. The Spark, you know, we thought maybe the Temple of Anubis pick, not their best map. Statistically, we thought maybe we'd see some sort of crazy Symmetra shenanigans again, but they've been playing pretty straight up as far as early glimpse at the meta goes right now.
Yeah, it is kind of confusing. Maybe they feel just Godsby isn't in form, and so they want to give it a shot. Because remember, for most stage 4 is Adora on the May. So.
Yeah, that is true. But again, you know, why pick a map where you don't have a great record on? I guess it's practice. I guess it's confidence. You'd hope so.
Surefour's on a flank right now. Watch this teleport. He might be coming in from behind. There he is in the front line. Has to Wraithform out.
Yep. Still putting a lot of damage into those shields. Yeah, that Sigma shield is basically gone, and now Adora is just completely gone. As the first kill comes in, Hydration getting that one, now teleporting over to the backlines, forcing the fade early from Bebe. That Moira definitely very vulnerable right now, but Big Goose is down. Bazzi comes back for the kill on the support. Bebe drops, so Surefour finally finding his quarry. The Hunter gets his prey, but now he is hunted in this little room on the side, and Rhea down. Surefour will not be denied. The support Surefour gets from the Gladiators is pretty insane sometimes in these fights, and it shows. The Gladiators gonna take point A here, and Surefour looking pretty unkillable.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very fast point A capture here. Minute 15 about, all it took, and they are going to have to finish this map, but they have plenty of time to execute on that. They're going to have the first coalesce, so Baby will probably get his by the time fight on the point actually begins. Hangzhou will not have that opportunity to have the same level of aggressive defense that we saw the Gladiators on their first defense on point B. Now they're just going to be trying to defend the point. Coalescence goes out immediately.
And there goes a meteor strike as well. Hydration looking for a target. Gonna go in the back lines. Oh, nice halt to bring in IDK. They got one kill, but Bazzi got the kill in the Hydration afterwards. He's been following up those meteor strikes multiple times. That is the new pro strat, apparently. You know where he's gonna be, just land on him. Roar gets the kill on the Gushui anyway, and respawns or not. It's looking pretty good for the Gladiators here on point B. Void finds one on Adora, and there's a cleanup on a Bazzi as well. Spark are gonna just have to trickle in and try to stall as long as they can now. 440 plus still in the time bank for the Gladiators. This is a nightmare for the Spark if they lose this point right now, and they will. 5:19.
When it's all said and done, when you get that little boost of time at the end, wow.
Yeah, dominance from the Gladiators on the Sparks map, no less.
Yeah.
Couldn't switch fast enough. Good discipline, preventing the stall, killing the Wrecking Ball early and forcing the Orisa out. No chance for the Spark to drag any more time off that clock.
Well, it's a massive time bank mismatch. We'll see who wins in extra innings on Anubis when we come back. So Hangzhou Spark finished with less than a minute remaining. They'll be bumped up to a minute for their time bank round. The Gladiators get that additional time as well, which brings them up to 5 minutes and 19 seconds in the time bank. That is a lot of time. That is a big edge for the Gladiators to try to
take the lead in this series with a win here on Temple of Anubis. The Spark, though, will attack first.
There we go. Big rock over the top right there. Does get blocked by a Sigma barrier. Nice try.
Yep. You got to go for
Rhea.
that. Why not? And here we go. Gladiators know the angle that Spark are coming from. And they're just going to walk in. And again, the Doomfists run into each other. We've seen that every single fight, but Bazzi right there to uppercut Hydration into oblivion. Oh, and it's a good start. 2 kills from Bazzi, and once again, the Doomfists winning the day for the Spark on point A. Man, they need a really fast take, and Surefour wants to try to deny them. He's still up for now, but he might not last too much longer. Although we've said that before. Shaz down, Surefour drops. And it looks like it will be a quick point A take for the Spark. They're going to get 30 seconds after this. Not a lot of time, but even just taking point A in time bank is pretty big.
Yeah, it definitely is big, but how are they going to snowball this into a win?
It's not going to be easy.
I mean, both teams have the coalescence, and they didn't get a lot of ult charge otherwise. So they got to hope for a big pick. Can they get the same couple of kills to start things off? Aggressive defense here again from the Gladiators. Nice stun.
Oh, Hydration, though, gets a kill on the Bazzi. It was such a good rocket punch on Roar to start that, but Hydration was ready to counter. And now Surefour with the kill on IDK. That's going to be all she wrote, folks. It's going to be nearly impossible for Hangzhou Spark to take point B at this point. Gladiators getting the kills they need. Can anyone even get there? No. So
the Hangzhou Spark take point A in style, but no progress at all on B.
I love the way the Gladiators are playing around these objectives, Doa, because they're taking these aggressive fights. They're playing their ult economy well when they know what their opponents have. In that scenario, you might as well just go ahead and take the risk, because if you can get that pick off, which they did, you're going to win. And even if you get picked off, you can fall back to point for respawn and be okay. So with the time bank that they had remaining, ends up working out very well for them.
Yep.
There you see it, IDK falling, and Surefour is going to go ahead and pursue through the dark room here on the flank. Or it's nothing you can do. It's just playing the janitor, mopping up.
That's the thing. Having the time of his life as well, apparently. Well, why not? I mean, your team is sitting in a great place right now, right? You've got over 5 minutes in your own time bank. Yeah, sure, your opponents took point A, but you've certainly got enough time to do that. And then once you do, you're looking at either a draw or, maybe a pretty easy win if you take that first tick on B.
I think a lot of that decision making is so critical in Overwatch, and when you see it being done well and clock management, there's so many different scenarios that you have to consider as you're shot calling in that situation, and to do it well is a complex feat. Gladiators pulling it off pretty nicely, and now
You're going to have that chance here.
Downtown. Oh, where's Rock? Got denied.
Go ahead. They need to. Right now, Hangzhou Spark, only chance to win is to full hold.
Yep. That's the plan for the Spark. We'll see if they can do just that. Ton of time, though, for the Gladiators, like we mentioned. Now the typical engage we've seen a lot of teams use on this map with this composition. Are we going to have the Doomfist punching each time so far? Building it up. Going in. Not this time. Hydration down. Bazzi. He was wise to a man. He knew exactly the angle he's coming in. Doesn't stop Boyd from killing IDK, though. Bazzi wants to stop this attack cold. It's 2 for 2 so far in the fight between these teams. And the Spark reeling here already.
I don't have that Orisa either, which is really important for them to be able to stall out this point. Wrecking Ball swap from Roar. Very smart. Get back here with a player advantage as fast as you can.
Akushe makes the change as well. He's going to try to get that back there quickly, but not in time to save IDK. Surefour picks up 2, and that looks like it's going to be it for point A. Spark not going to be able to hold this one. And now it's going to be just a single tick. Just a third of the control meter on point B for the Gladiators to win Anubis and take a lead in the series.
I'm pushing forward right now. Gladiators doing a good job. Don't have much to go. Just that one tick with 4.5 minutes. Quite doable.
That's right.
Hangzhou Spark hoping for that draw.
Yeah, they're going to try, but it's such a long defense, right? You have to defend for 4 minutes. And change on this one. Be rough. Coalescence available for Shaz. Can use it immediately. All they need to do is bull rush their way in there and get just one tick. Just a third. Trying to finish off, or trying to keep Surefour alive, rather. A lot of damage being done by the Spark, but no kills quite yet. Surefour gets to the back line, so there's the Death Blossom. Adora down. Hydration picks up a kill, and Surefour there for a 2K and the cleanup. And it's looking like it's going to be Gladiators taking a lead in this series. They've got the sound barrier, they've got the damage, they've got the lead, and now they've got Temple of Anubis, a 2-1 lead for LA.
And a great map for Surefour, Doa. 23 final blows out of their 57 limbs, 14 Death Blossom kills.
Wow.
Positioning really good overall, and they've started to exploit the Hangzhou Spark's tendencies. We've got to see Hangzhou adapt right now.
Yeah, well, it's taken them an entire stage to adapt in the past. They got to do it in just a few maps. We'll see if they can do it when they come back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, Intel Core i7. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Zip Chair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. The Guangzhou Charge were looking to wrap up a 3-1 win over the Chengdu Hunters on Map 4 when Nero and his Pharah tried to drop in for a clutch point-blank barrage, but the Hunters stunned and then hacked him before Jinmu flew in and finished him off. Not content with the one kill, Jinmu took Nero's old position and unleashed a point-blank barrage that wiped out the Hunters.
Jinmu! The ground barrage gets it done.
A lead for the LA Gladiators after a win on Temple of Anubis. Now the question is, can the Hangzhou Spark pick it back up again, tie up the series? But I think the question you and I had more than anything is putting Adora in but not changing the team compositionally at all. It seems like maybe it's just kind of a bit of a vote of no confidence in Godsby's Reaper play, but at the same time, you'd hope with a different player, they'd have access to different compositions, but we haven't seen that yet, at least not on that map anyway.
I mean, this is going to be, I think, the standard composition that we see for the playoffs. Obviously, we've seen a little bit more Pharah here and there as well, and some niche strategies on certain points. Right, but a lot of it has been Doomfist, right?
Yeah.
Doomfist, at least in the play-ins, was the most played damage-dealing hero and third most played overall behind Sigma and Orisa. He was seen in 67% of team fights in that play-in period, and we're seeing probably even more of him today, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if your team doesn't have a great Doomfist player, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, I think, in this meta. And as metas shift around throughout the history of Overwatch, there's always been heroes like that. There's always been those pillar heroes, we could say. Now an interesting substitution coming in for the Gladiators. Decay subbing in for Void. Interesting. So they're putting Decay in as one of the tank roles. All right. And Hydration. Ooh,
damage to tank.
Damage to tank. Ah, okay, I see now.
So those of you who are
interesting,
avid Hydration or Gladiators fans probably know that Hydration has been playing quite a bit of Sigma on the ladder right now. And so what this means is that they are going to be, for whatever reason, playing Hydration in now, as Godsby will return.
Subbing back in for Adora. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, and you know, I know that the desk highlighted it at halftime that Void hasn't been the greatest Sigma player.
Sure.
But we're going to go on to Rialto, and I guess they feel that they don't necessarily need Hydration's Doomfist skills on this map, and he's probably the better Sigma player. So why not go ahead and go to your strengths and have Decay come in for a more niche strategy, possibly on the Pharah.
Yeah, fair enough. So as I mentioned, yeah, Decay and Hydration over to tank. Set defense. Grab it. To be honest. He's not playing defense at all.
So Gladiators 2-3 on this map, Spark 2-2. Worth noting that we have not seen Rialto in the pool outside of the playoffs until we saw it in the GOATS meta. And this is definitely a 3-tank, 3-support heavy map. So far in 2019, we're seeing it now here in the playoffs without that meta being in effect as we moved into roll lock.
How about this though? Surefour on the Ashe and Decay on the Pharah as we have a little bit of a pause. Well, we'll see if it's a little bit of a pause. You never know. This could be
turning into a Doamati podcast hour.
Oh, good.
Lucky you.
My favorite.
That's right, especially all the people in the audience.
Star Wars, Jurassic Park.
Sure.
90s cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, there's some modern things as well.
See the new Dark Crystal? It is. Oh, thank goodness. We're back in the game. Gladiators, actually, because it's a little bit different than we were expecting, maybe. It's going to be the Ashe Pharah. Big Goose, of course, on the Mercy to support the Pharah.
Yep, lots of long-range poke damage with this composition, and I'm playing that Ashe because you do have a lot of hard angles in this map, so the mid-range hit scan a little bit better, and you can catch people in these narrow streetways with the dynamite potentially.
Right.
And we are going to see some teleporting. Right now, Hangzhou has Godsby and Bazzi in the back lines. They're together on a flank. but they're going to get poked out, and Wraith form used. Godsby's
Godsby, yeah, I
he's
mean,
dead.
you're dead. he had nowhere to go after that Wraith form. Yep. Can't exactly jump into the canal. Hydration. So the Gladiators kind of falling back a little bit, but no real threat coming in from the Hangzhou Spark at this point.
I mean, the Doomfist, Bazzi's still way in the back right now by Shaz. Sneaking around on a crouch walk. He's on a secret mission.
It is hard to walk like that, too.
He's got very strong
crouch and walking in. Massive quads. Oh, and a massive fist as well. Oh, but it's the trade. Shaz takes Bazzi down with him. The res comes in from Big Goose, so they bring their Ana back, so that's okay. That said, the Spark's still pushing.
But if your Ana's dead and your Mercy's resing, you can't heal your tank line.
That is very true.
And that means quick death there for Roar. Roar with the Wrecking Ball swap gets back quickly.
Yep. So there, goes through, knocks everybody off the payload, getting a little bit of shields, comes in. Oh, Surefour eats a rocket punch from Bazzi. The Ash is down. And now Rhea trying to finish off that bar. Ooh, goes for the hair shot. Yeah, that's a fancy one, man. Trying to make the highlight reel there. Either way, forces the far away. Bebe gets a kill onto Decay anyway with that Coalescence. It's going to be the Nano Boost, meanwhile, onto Hydration. Trying to get him up to that ultimate, perhaps. It's not working out. Not quite yet. Big Goose popped that Mercy ultimate as well, but it's not going to end up in a team fight win. The Sparks still going to finish off point A.
Ooh, that Doomfist flank really... threw a wrench in the works of the Los Angeles Gladiators. The trade kill came through, but you got the res. However, when you abandon your front line, to make the res happen does mean that they're going to get a lot of payload progress and sort of control over that choke point at the end of A. Hangzhou taking advantage of that opportunity. Don't have to use too many ultimates. And now we're going to see the swap back to Reaper Doomfist for LA.
All right. Oh, the Death Blossom growing higher than you'd expect. Use that Wraith form to get out. Gets one kill, but no Godsby. He's just fine, man. And that was a pretty easy team fight win for the Spark. In fact, a team kill comes through as they might be able to just get around this corner. That's usually one of the trouble spots for attackers.
Yeah, Hydration making a beautiful helicopter out of Godsby.
It was like one of those toys where you like pull the string and it flies up in the air and spins, you know?
Never thought I'd see Reaper reach, the rotations per minute to actually go airborne.
It's not about the DPS, it's about the RPMs, apparently. Rhea goes ahead and uses that ultimate. No kills out of that one, but they do manage to get the health on Decay really low. He's down Hydration as well, in a little bit of trouble. Meanwhile, they separate Roar from his team for a little bit. Rhea throwing out those orbs, doing a lot of damage with the AoE. Big Goose gets a knock-up onto Bazzi, though. And Hangzhou Sparks starting to struggle a little bit. They need to back off from the payload, trying to rotate around. Big Goose, goes for the knock-off. Doesn't catch anyone with it, though. And now Surefour coming in from behind. Shaz did drop in the end of that one, and now Surefour with the Death Blossom, able to walk forward with that sound barrier. Gets one onto Gushway, and that's going to be enough. The Gladiators can back off and play the rest of this fight defensively.
Yeah, Coalescence used at the end by Bebe. Not ideal there. They were trying to keep Gushway alive. He did get the Orisa barrier down, but had enough damage dealt to him before that. They're able to clean up the kill because of the chunk that Surefour's Death Blossom took out of him. They're going to try again here. Have that supercharger. Take a little bit of space. They're going to stay spread out, though. Make sure that Hydration doesn't get a good Sigma ultimate off.
Well, that's a hope anyway. Gets halted off the high ground. Going to go ahead and activate the ultimate. Going for it. Gravitic Flux denied. Fortify for Gushway. Keeps him safe. IDK not so lucky. Comes down from on high with the rock on a Bebe. Decay gets the final blow there. Gladiators, though, coming out ahead in this fight. Hangzhou taking everything they've got, putting it on the payload right now. Gravitic Flux again, this time from the Spark. Shaz is down, and with Godspeed Death Blossom, it thought for a second it might be enough. They're still getting kills. This is such a barroom brawl right now between these teams, and Rhea's not ready to let this one go just yet. The rock comes through. No stun out of that one, though. Yeah, now you have to back away, but the Hulk's not going to let him. He's in trouble, but he gets out. Hangzhou Spark, though, not able to finish B yet.
The combination of the superchargers and the two tanks still alive on the Gladiators, barriers go up all over the payload, and Hangzhou Spark simply can't approach. They're trying to throw those abilities out, but when your accretion is hitting those barriers, Sigma really bad at taking down barriers.
Well, yeah. He does not do a lot of consistent damage into those. Have to go around it. Decay, uppercut, rocket punch, goodbye. Oh, he trades. Oh, and Bazzi. Roar got the kill anyway, but Bazzi was going to get back on. IDK makes Surefour take a drink as well. The drink of death. And Shaz takes on Bebe with the coalescence. So the Spark still putting a little bit of pressure on here. And the members of the team that they've lost can get back in a hurry, but they're just going to regroup. 39 seconds to go. You've got maybe one more good push here from the Spark.
Yeah, Big Goose also about to match the sound barrier of IDK. Bebe needs just a few more percent to get another support ult online. So a little bit more healing, a little bit more sustain for the Spark. But guess what? Surefour's been nasty with those Death Blossoms.
Oh, the stun, Decay down. That was a really bold rocket punch he went for, and he paid for it. Spark ready. They're going to use the sound barrier to get aggressive now onto the Gladiators. Big Goose tied with his ultimate available. That is tragic for LA. And point B is going to be secured by the Spark.
Yeah, Spark had to throw everything at that, however, and they're still going to go for it. They're trying for the Hail Mary here.
They're trying, man. If they could stop it right here, it'd be an easy lead, and Decay does get one onto Godsby. Can he stay alive? No, can't quite do it. Meanwhile, Hydration pops the ultimate. They go in. Big Goose drops again, though. Bazzi finds another one, and the Coalescence for Shaz.
They're going to do it, duh.
Might be enough. It kept the tanks alive. Surefour's still in it as well. And the Hail Mary indeed. Big Goose got back in time. He got the sound barrier off, and he helped the Gladiators get the defense.
I cannot believe they pulled that off.
What a great decision by the Gladiators.
Wow.
So what happened there, you can see big smiles on Shaz.
No kidding.
They didn't think that they might not be able to pull that one off, but if you look who died, Big Goose was the one who's down. So he's going to be able to get back quickly with the help of the speed boost. And also, they've been consistently swapping Roar over to the Wrecking Ball. Decisions being made very fast for the Gladiators. So knowing that they could get back to the point quickly, they opt in.
Look at that, though.
I mean,
just the shield onto Decay.
It's just him, and no one's able to really deal with Big Goose. He's playing around the corners, and then they get back with the ultimate coming in as well from Hydration and slam everyone down.
Man, that was a flawlessly executed fight. Just in terms of how they use abilities. The sound barrier comes in, you know, Big Goose stays on the payload, boops people away. That gives Decay time enough to use the Meteor Strike without giving up any more on it. That gives the team enough time to get more people back into the fight. And
yep.
That's why the Gladiators are here, man. That's what a playoff team does right there.
Yeah, we talked about their decision making constantly throughout this series, and that is a
really hard call to make.
Yeah.
And you have to know that the Sigma's about to be there with the ultimate because it's about the stall. You're taking two mobile heroes in the Lucio as well as the Doomfist, putting enough shields on them and hoping they can dodge around long enough. And you know the Spark are all going to be grouped up in the payload.
Yeah.
And the Sigma ultimate is just fantastic on those in overtime scenarios when everybody has to be there. You're going to catch
many people.
Absolutely. So now the Spark, the ones on the defense, and Surefour swapping it up. He's going to go over to the Somer for a second just to do a bit of scouting. Switching back to the Reaper now.
So
standard
Godsby
composition except for the Spark side. Godsby, like you were just about to mention, on that Widowmaker.
Now Godsby, this is where he was really hard carrying.
Ooh, there we go.
In stage 4, and now they're going to try and switch it up here. Go back to the Godsby excellent sniping that got them in to that guaranteed playoff seed in the top 6.
You know, there's a lot of shields, of course, that you're shooting into as this Widowmaker, but there's also a lot of characters popping up into the air. We saw Big Goose with the Lucio. You know, the Doomfist is out from behind shields pretty frequently. You can maybe get a headshot on that flanking Reaper as well, and yeah, go ahead and grapple your way to safety. There's a kill onto Big Goose. Roar does get the final blow, though, onto Godsby. So this defense might be about to be shattered, but you can definitely see the reason for the Widowmaker.
Yeah, and they're going to get another chance at this defense too. Spark, as soon as they started losing players, rotated over to the cart and are just being annoying, taking time off because Gladiators went on a long flank away from the objective. So yes, Gladiators are going to win this fight, but there is definitely going to be another defense here from the side of the Hangzhou Spark.
Yeah, burned a minute and a half or so about off the time bank to begin with already. And you can see the Spark grouping up in the bottom right there to try to defend this one again. Shaz has that coalescence. That might be what they need to push through.
God's making a swap off. No chance for the Widowmaker.
Falcon!
Down and dirty.
Almost. Big Guso gets one on Aria anyway. There's the knockoff he was looking for. Sure-4 finishes off Gushue, and that's point A. Taken no contest, really, from the Spark at all.
They all end on that flank, but when you don't get that initial pickoff, Gladiators have been reading those flanks better and better, just jamming their way into the front lines of the Gladiators, not giving the Spark an opportunity to set up properly. And that's been a big difference maker as this series has gone on here to map 4 is the adaptation of the Gladiators.
Pretty much. Big is close to his sound barrier. Now Lucio ult going to be crucial as they try to finish off point B. Meanwhile, Decay and Sure-4 sneaking around, trying to get an angle on the defense here. They've got it. Ooh, a little bit too much damage though. Has to back away. Nice boop from Big Goose, dislodging the high ground defense from the Shark, or the Spark rather, as the Gladiators come in again. And we'll see if they can push it. I don't know, man. That's hydration coming in with the ultimate. Sure-4 finishes off Gushue. IDK down as well, and Bazzi manages to get one, but that is all the Spark are going to get, as that payload very close to the end of B, and very close to giving the Gladiators an even greater lead in this series. Is anyone there to contest? The Reaper gets there just in time. Wraith form to waste a bit more for the Spark to get back to the point. Can they defend though? They've got the Coalescence and the Gladiators backing off. Now Shaz pops his Moira ultimate as well. And that is a nice slam. Oh, hydration denied though. Rhea comes in. He's got the Gravitic Flux. No kills out of that one, but he does manage to set up Godsby for a great Death Blossom. 2K off of that, and are you kidding me? Godsby with the 4K, and the Spark, they'll continue to hold.
That accretion, you get it onto the Reaper on the enemy team. Sure-4 is knocked down, and Godsby sweeps through to clean up the Gladiators. That said, Doa, you still have to hold for another 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
That's not going to be easy.
You know, one fight is impressive, but you have to do that for every fight for the next 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, and all it takes is one Death Blossom from Sure-4 to turn things around, and he's got that ultimate right now.
Yep, and Hangzhou has no defensive ultimates available, so Sure-4 very successful.